Reflection on the Gospel according to Mark, chapter 5, verses 21 to 43. Faith and fear, little lamb. Little lamb. That's the root word for Talitha in Aramaic. It was used as a term of endearment for little girls. Isn't that beautifully tender? This is the Jesus we love best, powerfully healing, unspeakably generous, charmingly affectionate, and just a little bit practical. Jesus says, "Get this sweet little girl a snack." The beautiful passage is hard to improve on. The best way to preach it might be to read it and read it again. Mark repeats what the Spirit calls attention to. Notice the dreadful situations of both the girl and the woman. One is dying, then dead. One bleeding out, both unclean. Both characters separated from the social structures by their affliction. Notice the helplessness, the hopelessness. Notice the fear and the reasons to fear. And because Mark repeats it, notice the faith, where the situation gives no reason to hope, where the condition is full of fear. There is faith anyway. For these reasons, this is a famous and familiar passage. So one day, before I was ordained, I was meeting with a woman I admire greatly. She was wise and compassionate, witty and blessed with a gentle smile, and she lived in pain. Every day she gets up in pain, lives through her day in pain, lies down at night in pain. Pain is present in her life like breathing, day in, day out, year in, year out. This woman lives in pain that washes with her like the regular ocean waves. One day, I asked her favorite biblical passage, and she quoted this passage from Mark in full. There is a way of exploring Scripture where you listen to Scripture and wonder what character's perspective you take when you hear the passage. No judgment, just curiosity. From what point of view, in this moment, do you hear this passage? In this story, it is possible to experience the text from the disciples' perspective, trying to protect Jesus from the crowd. Or we could take the Father's perspective, seeking Jesus out and falling on your knees before Jesus, begging for healing. Maybe, intuitively, we took the bleeding woman's perspective with her great need of healing and courageous trust that she could pull healing from Jesus by her faith. Or imagine the little girl dead and brought to life and called by Jesus, little lamb. Some of us, on first reading, might take Jesus' perspective and wonder what he was thinking. No judgment, just curiosity. The woman of pain I know practiced this exercise, so I asked what perspective she took in this beautiful story. She shifted, constantly uncomfortable in her body, but looked me in the eyes, her whole face filled with faith, and answered right away. She said, "I always hear this story from the perspective of the mother." In the list of incredibly vivid characters, the little girl's mother is there too. She's in the story. We hear about her in passing. She and the father and 3 of the disciples go into the place where the little girl is. They go with Jesus, and Jesus raises the girl up, calling her little lamb. The woman of pain told me she imagines the mother while everything else is going on. While the father was out searching for Jesus, while Jesus heals another, while the disciples followed, and while the little girl died, the mother was still present and witness to another kind of faith practice, another kind of trust, the hope of healing for another, and the willingness to just stay present and bear witness if and when healing does not happen. Today, there is a lot of healing that does not happen. We, many of us, live in pain that is not healed. We, all of us, live with injustice that is not resolved. Today, there are times for active, faithful action, for going out into the pushing, jostling crowd, and there in the bustle, falling to our knees and earnestly pleading. There are times for calling out loud that you are afraid, and times of pleading for help. There are times for reaching out and grabbing what we need, times for pushing forward, trembling with fear, and asking for the suffering to stop. Now, after the woman of pain told me her story, I see something else from her perspective. When Jesus entered into the place where the girl, the sweet little lamb, lay in death, Jesus took the father who had searched him out. Jesus took the disciples who had followed. And Jesus took the mother into that place of healing. For all those whom healing will not happen, for all those who live in injustice that will not be resolved. So, all of us, there is a lesson for us. There are times when our faith causes healing by our actions, when in faith we search for justice, when in faith we reach out and touch healing, and there are times of still and present witness, and these times are also called by Jesus, like Jesus called the mother, called into a place of healing. Today, there is a lot in the world we cannot fix. We can't do it. There's a lot in the world we cannot heal. It is out of our control. But, little lambs, all of us, we still have options for faithful response in places of pain and fear. We can stay. We can stay with the fear, sometimes doing nothing, but sitting beside the suffering is all that's asked for us. Sometimes helping each other to ask for this moment to be holy, blessed, just as this moment is. A blessed moment in pain. A blessed moment of fear. Trusting, full of faith, that God is in pain and in fear, as well as in joy. This week, let me remind us all, as the woman of pain reminded me, that for all the places that cannot be healed, for all the situations that will not be fixed, for all of those issues where injustice remains, the world still needs us to do the impossibly hard work of sitting still and doing nothing but bearing witness. Like the mother in this story, show faith by staying through the hard times and the fearful times. I invite us to imagine this as the woman of pain imagines it. Not passive, but an active bearing witness. Not passive, but a faithful witness in time of fear. Not passive, but alive to hope and holy even in pain, fear, and injustice. So let us rise up and go out into the world, into a world in need of healing, a world full of fear, and bring our faith to all our actions, but also to bring our faith to our still and quiet listening.